All right, Brian.
Yeah.
Come on up. We're in the old Vice. How are you?
Long time no see.
That hurt. I just hit my elbow.
Tendonitis.
Yeah, long time no see. How you been?
Good.
What have you been up to?
Not a lot. Just working, taking care of the family.
Nice. Yeah, thanks for having me here.
Yeah.
We're in your house.
Yep.
In your man cave. You got a nice area.
Nice little area. Couple fish.
Yo, you've come a long way.
Yeah.
Like when you think about now, and like, dude, you're in your basement at your own house.
I know. Sometimes I think about that a lot.
Yeah.
Like even 6 years ago.
Yeah. What was 6 years ago?
Couldn't afford a bus ticket.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, that's definitely something to be thankful for. Yeah.
Did you ever see it coming, or like, did you even think it was possible?
I knew it was possible. I just didn't. I didn't know when or if I was going to be able to stay alive long enough to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, you literally thought you were gonna die or something?
Yeah. No, well, yeah. Just that kind of lifestyle, you know.
Yeah.
But I always knew that I was going to have. I always kind of had a feeling I was going to get out of it. I just didn't know how at the time.
Yeah.
But also there was times, of course, where I thought, okay, maybe I'm not. But deep down, I knew God was going to pull me out.
Do you think it was like you saw a path in front of you, like, dude, I can eventually take this, or did it come along piece by piece?
It just came along piece by piece, really, yeah.
And suddenly, like, oh, I'm getting out of it.
I'm actually able to get out of it, yeah.
Woo!
Yeah, I know. That's how it works, I think, you know. Like, once you accept God and actually,
yeah,
you know, he sees that you're serious about this, you know. It's hard to see at times what he's doing, but like I said, 6 years ago and to now, he's gave me pieces and pieces, and I also learned that he wants you to put in the work, you know. Like, if it was just given to me right off the bat, when I wasn't ready, I would lose it, you know.
True.
Yeah.
Were you like a Christian, you say, like 6 years ago, or like how did that whole?
Well, when I went into the program in 2015.
Teen Challenge,
yeah. I would say that was the beginning of the journey, for sure.
But what made you even open to take that route?
There was just no other option for me other than I knew, like, my addiction had came to a point to where I wasn't going to be able to stop by myself, you know. And then my ex-wife, you know, I heard it on the radio, in Oklahoma, the Teen Challenge on the radio. And she's the one that plant the seed and say, hey, this is where you could go. And, you know, I would say 2015 was the year that I actually opened up and say, hey, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
This is what drugs I'm doing. You know, for a long time they just thought I was doing pills. You know, I thought that was a better addiction than what meth was, you know.
Right.
I was like, yeah, no, I'm just taking pills, you know. And but 2015 is when I was honest, you know. Told them, hey, I'm addicted to this.
Who'd you tell?
My grandma, my ex-wife, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and they, I mean, my grandma, you know, she tells me now, like, I wish we would have known about Teen Challenge a long time ago, because, you know, we just didn't know what to do. And they're really, you know, grandma's never struggled with anything like that. My dad's never struggled with any kind of addiction, drug-wise or anything like that, you know. I'm sure everybody's addicted to something, but our kind of addiction they've never dealt with.
Right.
So yeah, they didn't know really anything about it, you know, any kind of rehab and plus the rehabs that you did know about were so expensive, you know, there's just no way at the time that you could pay for that. And then how Teen Challenge, and she heard it on the radio, and there usually it costs, I think it's like they say $1,200 to get in.
Okay.
And they told me, like, just come in. Well, don't worry about any of that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and so they got me in, and I would say God was, you know, the type of person I was at the time. I never finished anything. I was real selfish.
Yeah.
So I remember when I was there for 2 months, I had left because I was like, I ain't staying no more. I'm good, you know.
Yeah.
And it didn't take me a month, and I was back doing the same thing. And so God's like, you got to stay, you got to go back and you got to finish, you know. And so I went back and finished the program, and that was the first, like a first.
Yeah. Intro.
Intro. Yeah. Wow. It was far from over, unfortunately, but I had enough knowledge, and I knew that it's a difference after you go through something like that, and now you see God working in other people's lives, and you know God's real, and so now when you fall, now you're falling. You're not like an addict, you know.
Yeah.
You're
it's
just
a fall.
It's a fall now.
Right.
Before you wasn't considering those falls, you just did it.
Yeah.
And so now after that, I had some, you know, quite a few falls, but I never stayed down. You know, I always was trying to look for, okay, what do I need to do to get away from it?
Yeah.
And so the people I met, Miss Yvonne, she was the thrift store manager in Oklahoma, and she would always tell me about Michigan when I was there. And so she would always reach out to me, and always like times where I'd be at a hotel or somewhere, like alone, and she would just say, "Hey, Bryan, how are you?" You know, or I'm praying for you. And then finally, I just told her, this was 2019. I was down pretty bad, and living in Del City, right outside Oklahoma City, in a really bad place. Had warrants, I did, you know, child support warrant, the stuff that comes when, you know, with that kind of lifestyle. Child support warrant, didn't pay tickets, had a few warrants. And then she said, well, there's a teen challenge up here in Muskegon. And I told her, I said, I want to move, I want to get away.
You need to.
Yeah. I knew, like, now, even in Oklahoma City, I was still 2 hours from my hometown. But what happened is, when I fell after graduation, you know, I mean, it was probably 6 months after I graduated, I fell for the first time.
Okay.
But I was hanging out with other buddies I was friends with, and so we were all close. You know how that bond you have with certain guys, us.
Yeah.
You know, the bond. But the biggest thing was when we fell together. Now we're close, and we know, like, hey, we got to be there for each other and all that. But now we're just feeding into it, you know. And
like the wrong way, you're saying.
The wrong way. Yeah. And so I knew I just needed to get away, you know, because I was like, you know, it's just gonna keep going.
Dude, I think that my first like real breakthrough was that same thing of like telling someone. Like, I know that's in addiction. People are like, we have to admit.
Yeah.
But really, to be like, I remember telling my brother. I was going to work for my brother.
Yeah.
And I hadn't told anyone that what I was dealing with or what was happening. And you know, I'm like withdrawn, like sick at work, and like. But then there was like a final moment. I was like, dude, I'm just gonna tell him.
Yeah.
And I remember like, oh my gosh, like I remember crying. You know, it was like, but it was relief because I was like,
huge relief. Yeah.
Finally, like, and he was there for me. He's like, well, we're gonna get you help, or I forgot.
It's so big. Like, you're so worried about what they're gonna say or what they're gonna think of you too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then it happened again when I got to Teen Challenge. It was such a weight off my shoulders because finally it was like, we're all in the same boat, and like you knew what I was going through. And it's like, oh, what another relief! Like, I'm not in this alone. And
all the similar stories that we would have.
Yeah.
Like, we weren't the only ones doing the same dumb stuff, you know. But like, eye opening for sure. Yeah, it is.
How do you think Oklahoma and Michigan, like, so you've been in the same program, different places?
Yeah.
Like, are there similarities, or is it like?
I mean, there's similarities as in like schedule and the huge difference is West Michigan Teen Challenge. They got so many pastors there, and I feel like, and it was under a family, like, you know, Pastor McLean and now his son.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there's so many people that's been there for so long that are so into helping guys out and have a love for it. Oklahoma, there's just been so many. It's kind of like a business. I mean, again, it saved me by getting in there and learning about Teen Challenge and kind of a tool to get me to where I'm at. But the work duty, and it's just a lot different. I feel like West Michigan is really a place where Teen Challenge, if you would want to advertise for Teen Challenge, you would want to show West Michigan just because of the love and the support they have there. Sure. Oklahoma was like a stepping stone for sure, but also I didn't learn as much because it was wrapped around work duty, like fundraising, and I actually had a real job there. You know, I would leave campus, go work a real job, come back, which I could have done. You know, I feel like West Michigan, you're there. You're there.
Yeah.
That's it. You see in the walls. You know, you go see the church you go to, and then also the cleaning. You know, that's about it. I think that's where the guys and us, we need that right there to deal with our inside of our minds. You know, because now we're like, hey man, we got to face ourselves. We got to go through this, and we got to deal with it. Chapel every day, that's great.
Yeah.
That schedule of knowing, hey, this is what I got to do. This is good for me to stick to something instead of just leaving. I think it was just such a big. That was a big help.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hi, buddy.
Got a visitor.
It's your son.
Yeah.
Theo.
What's up, Theo? You want to go outside?
It's crazy this came out of like all your stuff you're talking about.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
What, buddy?
Well, I'm gonna go put him up. Sorry, guys.
All right, no, you're good. We're leaving it rolling because I don't know how to edit. Seriously. Cool though. In Bryan's house, his child, his son. No, I did a confessional, you know, where I just talked to the camera.
Oh, nice.
No, I didn't really. Yeah, it's cool, man. You got a family now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got real responsibilities.
Real responsibilities, yeah. And that's what I always wanted too.
Yeah.
Was to be a good dad, you know. And so I got restored my relationship with my daughter in Oklahoma. That was a blessing for sure.
Yeah.
I got two others that my oldest and then my youngest in Oklahoma I don't get to see, but I feel like that's still gonna just a process.
There's more to the stories.
There's more, yeah. I think that's too like with our mindset, like we're so like one-minded on certain things. Like we don't see very far in the future.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of times where I didn't see like, okay, past next year or something. Now we have goals, and now we have a future, and so we actually look forward to everyday life, you know.
Yeah, it's like you're kind of blinded by that when you're in it.
Yeah.
Like you can't see past it. It's like a fog that you're like, you can't get through.
I remember how many times in Teen Challenge, like we were like, how are we going to get past this?
Yeah.
How in the world are we going to make another 250 days? You know?
Yeah.
But looking back, don't you miss?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I thought that like, you just don't and that's with everything. You don't realize what you have.
You told me something when you left that stuck with me forever. You were like, this happens to me every time. I forget I'm just hanging out with my friends.
Yeah.
And like that's what Teen Challenge was.
Yeah, it is 100%.
You're with your buddies, but
because you got to think now we talk more to the buddies we made there than any other of the buddies. You know, most of us. You know.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, all the guys I talk to now, I think there might be one that I went to school with.
Yeah.
But the other ones, all my friends that text and all that, is all Teen Challenge.
It's like God really had a new life for us with new people.
Yeah, new people.
Like, new family. I was thinking that about TC too. That's another thing is like, there's a family vibe around there that it's like unspoken, but like say you see like Pastor Sam, you're saying the pastors, or like oh that's the grandfather, like that's the godfather of this whole thing, the patriarch. You know, and then you see it all around. You're like Greg in the shop. You're like, oh, that's my uncle. You know, he can be a little hard, but you know he loves you. Yeah. And like, there's these dynamics throughout the whole place that are like.
Remember Eddie?
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Yeah, he's like your another uncle. Yeah. You know, or cousin or something. There's a real family vibe. Yeah,
cousin Eddie. Crabber's full.
Oh. Yeah, that taught me a lot about life, being in there and being around those guys.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. That's why it hurts, man, when you see guys struggling too. Like that's why, for me, reaching out is what helps. You know.
Yeah.
That's I feel like we, and for me, from experience, is when you don't have anybody you can talk to, or in the past I would keep it to myself. For some reason, I felt like if I talk to y'all or talk to anybody, like I felt like I would let y'all down, so I can't say nothing. So like I feel like there's this wall that you want to keep up when that's the old self, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like if anybody struggles, we need to be the ones to know about it, you know. That way we can, because we're always going to be there. Yeah. Because we understand. But I feel like we forget that, you know. I know I did in the past. Like I wanted to, you know.
Well, it's true because just think, like you're an example to us.
Yeah.
Like, especially guys who are struggling, they know, like, dude, Bryan, look, he's got a job, he's got his own place, like, and then if you think, like, they hear about you, like, not doing well, you're like, dude, I'm letting them down.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, so it makes it difficult, so.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. But I think that's the biggest part, like, that I want to get out there, too, is, like, for me, like, if any of my bros, like, or sisters, Megan's always there to help with the girls, but just, all it takes, you gotta tell somebody. Yeah. You gotta get it out. You know, somebody that we're gonna be the ones you want to tell. You know. Yeah. All of us.
Because you've recently gone through some.
Yeah.
And I have too.
Yeah.
You know, if we're talking about it. Like,
that's you know, that's how we know so much from it. You know. Yeah. Not staying down. Just it's a fall, you get up and go, and that's at the time you feel like, well, this is me, or this is the devil gets in your head, you know, here you go again, you know, and all of it is lies to keep you down. And that's what I think helped me the last time is I knew it was all lies. I knew it was just a fall, and I knew it wasn't going to be where I stay. So
the devil like gets in your ear while you're down.
Oh,
like, this is, you know.
Yeah.
He'll like talk. Yeah, it'll make you think like this is gonna be it. This is your new normal. Like this is who you are.
No, and I feel like too. For me, when you get into that headspace or whatever, you always feel like God is like us, and like will react like how we react. Yeah. But it's far from the truth. We don't even know the love that God feels toward us. I feel, you know, we have an idea, but for Him to always be there, and the way He corrects us and the way He does things, you know, sometimes it's hard love, but He's got to love us. You know, we're not the only people that's been on earth. I mean, there's been lots of people before us that He's dealt with, you know. Yeah. And so that's huge.
Do you remember like a moment when, so you're feeling like condemned and convicted, you know, you're feeling down? Was there like a moment where you felt God like gently like, you're gonna be all right, you know?
Yeah, I would say I would get like random things, so I'd see numbers a lot, you know. Yeah, I'm that guy, but
I remember you telling me that. Yeah,
333. Yeah, I always see that, and there'll be times where that'll I'll look at the clock, like have that moment, and I'll look at my phone, 333. You know, I feel like God's always put that where it's like a little comfort. You know.
Yeah, like a reminder.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because it's so personal to you.
Yeah.
Like I don't have a 333 number, but I have a thing that.
Let me tell you what's wild. So one time, I was really going through it, and this was in Oklahoma. This is before I came up here, and I mean I was out of it, like out of it, and I was coming down, and I really didn't know what to do, and I was with my ex-wife, and she was, you know, dogging me, you know, it was just bad time. Anyways, we was at a hotel, and she went in to check us in a hotel, and I look at the car in front of me, and it said Fry on the tag, and it had 3 numbers, and I can't exactly remember the numbers, but I looked what those numbers meant, and
like in the moment.
Yeah, I looked it up, and it was like God is redeemed, or God redeems. And it was just crazy that was my last name and then the numbers. And the numbers, you know, and that was like a surreal moment. Like, okay, this is weird, you know.
Like eye-opening, I need this in this
It is kind of like, hey, man, you're really there?
Yeah.
That's weird, yeah. Well, then, you know, before I came up here, too, and with talking to Yvonne, you know, because as soon as she told me, yeah, there's a place up here, you know, I didn't just get up and go. So it was like that back and forth. Okay, I want to go. Okay, well, now I got this. I'm doing this. But I had gotten this old pickup from an old girl that let me use the pickup. And speedometer didn't work. Gas gauge didn't work. It was bad.
Yeah.
And I drove it, and I was out of it. And I drove it I was trying to get back home. It was 2 hours in Oklahoma City. And I don't even know how much gas I got. And so I was out of it, and I went to Tulsa, which is northeast.
I mean, you're like under the influence.
I was under the influence, yeah, I was messed up. And the brakes hardly worked. It was bad. I ended up going to Tulsa, and then I went down toward back home because I was like, what am I doing, you know? And I ran out of gas in Henrietta. And pull into this Walmart, and it's not a 24-hour Walmart. And so everything's no cars or nothing. So I pull in the parking lot, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, okay, I just got to sit here and wait till it opens. Talk to somebody, they were going to send me some money through Walmart. So I had to wait till they open. So I'm sitting there, here comes 8 o'clock, and all of a sudden, here comes a white van with the Teen Challenge. And I'm just like, you've got to be kidding me. And they were fundraising, and it's a 1 door in and 1 door out. And they set their table up, it's the crosses, it was all of it. And it was the girls' Teen Challenge, though, but... Yeah. Teen Challenge banner, and I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
And you're like right on the fence.
And
right?
I had to, and
like
I was
fighting it.
Oh yeah, and then I had to walk past them, get the money, and I was like,
tweaking out.
No, I was just like I was ashamed too because I didn't want to tell them that I was a graduate, you know. Yeah. And so, but I knew, I was like, God, you're there. I know. What's the odds of that, you know? The whole state of Oklahoma, and they come to this small town, not even a 24-hour Walmart. Yeah. And they come to fundraise there. So, yeah. And I remember seeing that van, and it says Adult and Teen Challenge on the side of the van. I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Dang.
Yeah.
All in a moment.
Yeah, and that was only about a month before I came up here. So.
Yeah, and during that time, like you said, you were battling. Am I going to go? Am I not?
Yeah, because about that time, there's a lot of, you know, the free drugs will pop up or somebody, you know, something that causes you to delay. Right. And there was a battle all the way up until I got on the bus. I mean.
But we always know, like, waiting is not.
And I was doing things that I normally wouldn't have done in the past before Teen Challenge because, let's say, like I said, it was a straight battle. So the night before, it was either 2 nights before I got on the bus, I was staying with Channing and Josh, great people, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. But they let me stay with them, but the only thing is I couldn't get on the bus till Saturday. So I got there like on a Tuesday or Wednesday. Well, it was right down the road from where I was hanging out and doing drugs and all that. So I'm sitting there, and, you know, when you're coming down and all this, and it was just a text message away, you know. And so late at night, I snuck out, went and got messed up. And usually I would stay away, and you wouldn't hear from me. Yeah. But I knew, for some reason, Channing would call me, and I'm usually a person that would turn my phone off, ignore it, or whatever. But I knew I just felt it that I needed to answer and just get her to come pick me up. And she ended up picking me up the day before I got on the bus. And she was so mad, and I made her just feel like I was like a little kid, you know, like I'm an idiot. Yeah. And I told her where I was, and I was like, you know, texted her, told her where I was, what hotel. And I was just like, I can't believe you're letting her pick you up, you know. And she came pick me up, and like it was that next day I got on the bus, you know.
Yeah.
But it was just like things that I wouldn't normally do, but it's like God was like, hey, you gotta go. This is it, you know. And
yeah, those God nudges and like He pushes you towards that. Yeah, I heard the story about you. Yeah, it's that you were about to come to Western Michigan Teen Challenge.
Yeah.
And that you're kind of on the fence. You're like struggling. You know, maybe I can do it on my own. But what? Something happened. You felt another nudge, or?
Yeah, about coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I remember I had to call up there. This is before training, and then I talked to you. Yeah. Yeah. And I remember I was at my sister's house at that time, and I remember I'll never forget smoking a cigarette out on the porch, talking to you.
Yeah.
And I remember I had just gone through all that stuff with Josh. And Josh, you know, killed himself and all that, and it was just a wild time. But I remember at the end, you were like, well, let me pray for you. And I was like, I haven't heard that in a long time, you know. And that Teen Challenge in Oklahoma kind of shunned me a little bit, you know. I'm not, it's totally different than here, you know. And anyways, and it just felt good. I felt like, okay, this is on the right, this is where I'm needing to go. And that was, I left there to straight to Channing's. And like I said, it was a battle, but I knew that I was going to go. You know, talking to, like, if you were anything like some of the guys at other places that, let's say some people, and unfortunately this happens, but in the program you'll get these people that are just there because they have nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and they're not realizing the severity of the people that are talking, saying, hey, I need a place to go, I need to come in. They're just, here's another one. You know, here's another one. Yeah, what's your name? Well, okay, yeah, we'll give you a call back. Hearing that, saying, hey, man, I'll pray for you. It was just like, this place cares, you know. It's just important.
Man, praise God.
Yeah.
I say that because, like, dude, God had His hand in... Oh, so that was crazy, right? God used that situation to bring you to TC.
Yeah.
But... like your and my and even Megan's story is so intertwined.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is, isn't it?
Like, because somehow I was on the other end of that call.
Yeah.
But what you don't know is, or you do know now, but like a year and a half before that, I was in like a church service, you know?
Yeah.
And I was new to Teen Challenge and also like coming off of my like addiction and I was, you know, dude, and you're in this church service and you're like, you know, I just been on this roller coaster of emotion. You're
endorphins like, up and down.
Oh my
god, mentally draining. Yeah.
Yeah, and before I got there, I'm trying to get off drugs myself.
Yeah.
So I would withdraw for like a week, and then I'd fall and stumble, and then I'd withdraw. So you're torturing yourself.
Yeah.
So by the time I get to the service, I'm already like traumatized, but I know that God is like pulling me towards something.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we're in this service. And there's like a girl up front, and the pastor's like, all right, we're going to pray for this girl.
Yeah.
And I'm in the very back. And he's like, let's all just extend our arms towards, you know, what later I found out to be Megan, like your wife.
Yeah.
So we're all up there, like, everyone's extending arms, like, to pray for her. And I remember, like, watching this and, like, in a moment, like... I know what happened now. Like, the Holy Spirit was, like, working in this moment. But at the time, you have no reference to that.
Oh, yeah, because you're not. Yeah.
It just hit me like a ton of bricks of, like... I'm, like, crying, you know, also, by the way. Because you're like, dude, this is it. Like, this is the answer. Like, we're in this together. Like, I don't know her, but look at everyone's extending, like, unified.
Yeah.
And it just hit me in such a moment, like, this is where I'm supposed to be. Like, God showed up.
The Holy Spirit, yeah.
But then... come to find out that's your wife.
Yeah.
And years later, there's more to the story, obviously, but... So I was there for you, basically, in a moment of, like, the strongest I've been, and you were weak.
Mm-hmm.
But then 3 years after that, I need a place to stay. I lost my job.
Yeah.
I had to move out, and now I'm in a weak situation where I'm going through my own ups and downs.
Yeah.
And here you are.
Yeah.
God switched it, and you're strong, and you got to help me.
Yeah.
Dude, that's
what we're made. Yeah. I think that's what we're. Really, in this life, I think that's what we're meant for.
Yeah. Yeah. So just a cool thing to and also I think it's God showing you that He did it, because. Yeah, it's always something different. His arm goes through all of it, but it's never been.
It's so weird how
it's count
precisely
on
intertwined. Things are precise.
Yes.
Where you don't even realize it till you're oh wow, hindsight's 20/20. So now you're seeing it. You're wow, man, that's weird.
Dude, if one thing would have been different, everything would have been different.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. God showing how He works through other people and.
Yeah, isn't that hard to believe? If one little thing was different, something would be completely off. Yeah. And the way me and Meg got married, me and Meg got married we didn't know each other. We just felt like it was the right thing to do, and that's very dangerous.
Wait, what are you talking about?
When we got married.
Okay, you're saying you didn't know her? You knew of her, right?
Not really.
No.
We probably talked for about maybe a month. I met her. So I don't recommend this. It's not. Yeah. Don't go out there and just okay, yeah, well, Bryan did it. But, so we Facebook, you get out Teen Challenge, you add all the Teen Challenge people,
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody's done it.
Mutual friends
and all that.
Girls you weren't supposed to look at.
So anyway, talked to her, and we would text and all that. Well then, so what happened is, when I went and I fell after leaving West Michigan when I went to visit home.
Yeah.
That was huge. I felt such like a dirtbag, and I didn't think that. I thought that was it. I was like, come on, dude. I don't know what's going on. I had no reason to. It's just, no matter where that. I didn't know at the time how to fight. I knew what I need to do, but also the thoughts that you will sit there and think, those grow. You know, so you're thinking about using. If you think about it, it's like watering a plant, and that sucker will grow and grow and grow. Then all of a sudden you get that, I'm just going to do it. Anyway, so I did that. I fell, and I got back to Western Michigan. The place I was staying at, great people, Matt and Susan. Yvonne's introduced me to them. They let me stay. Well, they said, you're not going to be able to stay here, which I understand 100%. Brandon, Brandon Ofongi. He if it wasn't for him, none of this would happen either. He came and picked me up from Grand Rapids Airport, and I ended up staying with him. Well, during that time, I told Megan, I was like, you need to quit talking to me. I was like, I don't want to bring you down, and this is what's happening. And she was persistent, like, no, this is just the lie from the devil. You're okay. You're okay.
Wow.
And I never even met her. I told her, I was like, get out while you can, because this is not good. I really don't want to bring you down or anything. You deserve better. And anyway, so she ended up, when I was at Brandon's, she came and see me, and right off the bat I was like, wow, she's beautiful, and she's real sweet. Well then, maybe a week after that, she fell, and it was weird, because if I would have never fell, and let's say we were talking and she fell, I would be like, whoa, I don't need to, But I understood even more, because I couldn't believe I fell, I just couldn't believe it. I was like, I'm such an idiot, and all this. But me being down and understanding that, I couldn't help but just want to love on her, and and make sure she's okay. And everybody was like, she's got to go, she's got to go to back to the program and stuff. And I was like, no, we can. It's a fall, we can get out of this. So she ended up staying with me right off the bat, and it was, like I said, not a normal thing to do, but we ended up getting married like a week after that.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
5 years later, we're still going strong. So.
With how many kids now?
We got 5. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So a week.
Yeah.
And what, you felt something like this is
Yeah, I've
different,
never. So I've always been kind of awkward as it is anyway.
Same.
And it's not like, I mean, you know how people say I've never been awkward. Like there was a little bit of that, but like her falling, it was weird. Like I felt like I needed to be there for her, and I wanted to like protect her, and I don't know what it was. I just felt like, okay, we can. It was like we were the underdogs now,
We're in this
and so
together.
where we started, and me and Megan was literally staying with Brandon in the same room, you know, and little twin mattress, and like started there, and then I remember we left Brandon's and moved into our own bedroom, and Yvonne and Darnell, and so we were like, this is crazy, we got our own room, you know, no offense to Brandon. I do miss that too, though. I miss hanging out with Brandon. He's a character. But anyways, so when we left there, we moved into a little bitty duplex in Spring Lake, and I remember we thought that place it's like the size of this room. It was tiny.
Yeah.
Very tiny. One bedroom, and the kitchen was formed into the living room. So anyways, when we got that, we're like, wow, we're getting there, and it was just like God has helped us get bigger and bigger, you know, and more secured. I remember a big thing was when Jace, our son, he got to move in with us, and that was huge for her. And I remember being so proud that she was able to, you know, be the mom that she always wanted to be.
Yeah.
And then we started having our babies, and here we are.
Man.
All from 2 weeks of talk.
Right.
So
you think God had this in store for you?
I had to have.
Yeah.
I had to have, because I mean that just doesn't happen to where that lasts, you know.
Sometimes I felt
very risky, but
yeah,
it worked, and that's how I mean, it's got to be God, you know.
So you just like
and we didn't want to sit there and be living with each other, and we didn't want to be. We needed God to do it, so we got married and all that, and I feel like she helps me and I help her. I've never had to worry about her, you know, the normal worries that we would have, and especially in our lifestyle and all that. She's just been really a godsend. So, yeah.
Yeah, you believe she? Yeah, a godsend.
Yeah.
You say this stuff, and I hear you talk about it, you know, and I just wonder if he has that in store for me, you know.
Yeah.
And then the 2 week, you know, I just wonder about.
Yeah.
But because I know who is it, Paul or something. He like instructs us. He's like, you know, or there's Bible verses that say he finds a wife, finds a good thing.
Yeah.
But then he also says, you know,
like the Pastor Sam route.
You're gonna have some trouble.
It'd almost be better to be
single.
Single. Yeah.
But then I wonder, and I hear you talk, and you know, I think part of me would like that, maybe.
I feel like God's gonna give you what your heart desires. And I feel like that is one of them that will.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
It's hard for me to share that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's awkward as men too. It gets in our head, you know, where we feel like we can't open up like that.
Yeah.
I talk about that stuff, but it's important. That's like one of the biggest things, you know, because a relationship. Many guys in the program and all that, we've always, it's drugs or the girl that you loved, or you know, and it's always, and when they intertwine, it's you get all these mixed emotions, mixed feelings, and then you always want to just jump, you know, into that, and then you end up picking the wrong one, you know, and this is where it's really important to be with somebody that's equally yoked, and not just somebody that,
yeah,
like I said, God blessed me, and I wouldn't recommend the 2 week thing, but unless you know, unless you know, and Megan's really dealt with a lot. I mean, she's like dealt with a lot of my mental paranoia and all that, you know. I had to push all that old stuff out, and I still got stuff, you know, that, you know, just I'll get paranoid or something, you know, stupid stuff. But she's the only one. She stuck it out, and she puts up with a lot. You know, you imagine, you know, living with me for 5 years straight.
can't imagine.
Yeah.
No, relationships are hard anyways. Like you try to put God first, and you're like,
yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes in a relationship, and this isn't like biblical, I just feel like you're like, you have a partner, and you're basically like giving them a gun or like an ammunition of everything that could hurt you. And you're like, okay, go ahead. I trust that you won't shoot me with that.
Yeah.
But I worry I'm just gonna get shot. It's a dumb way to put it.
No, dude, that's true. Because you gotta think. I mean, I would say that is, other than, I mean, drugs is right there with it, but a woman that, and men too, to girls. I mean, it goes both ways. But a spouse can really do some damage if you're not living.
Right.
You know, I mean, really, it could kill you. I mean, there's been many guys.
Yeah.
That will use that as justification because something went wrong or anything. It's just really important to have somebody equally yoked that is there for you, wants to grow with you, and have the same kind of, you know, mindset, goals. You want to do better, help each other. Want to make each other be better. That's important, you know, instead of being content, and also knowing what the devil does and eliminating certain scenarios, you know, like Megan just does, you know, she understands how I feel. I understand what makes her, you know, hurt or uncomfortable. Or, you know, we just work together.
Yeah,
it's important.
You're like truly a team.
Yeah.
Dude, I have a question, and it's mostly like a question I ask myself, so I'll ask you too.
Yeah.
Like, obviously God has changed your life, right? Like, that's clear. You've seen blessings come in your life in the form of like children or people, your wife, material stuff, or in your home. How can you still be so close to destroying everything, you know? Like, I ask myself, like, how am I still struggling with the same things that could take it all from me?
I know.
Like, why are we still
I think it's the flesh.
Yeah.
Like I told you earlier, the flesh isn't going with us, so you know, we deal with that struggle, that vice, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if we'll always have to deal with it. Maybe.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if we're going to be 70 years old still. You know.
Can't put that. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't think about that too long. You know, or something. I don't know. And you got to think. We're only, 5-6 years away from what we did for years. Hardcore, and then, you know, and look how far we come. As in, when a fall happens, now we're considering it as just a fall. We get up and go. You know, we wouldn't have been like that 6, 7, 10 years ago. You know, I think it's just a process. I'm hoping. You know.
Yeah, I think. I could see it too. Like, you know, what God helped me with this is that my weakness in all of this has really caused me to like seek after God in a way I wouldn't have before.
Yeah.
You know, when you feel like you're so close to like going off the deep end, like you really are like talking to God a lot.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, you know, I'll be like begging, like, just help with this thing. But yeah, there's shame that's like, I can't believe I still am asking for help for this.
I know. I feel like that. Or I feel like I'm like real selfish. I'm like, God, should I be asking you that, or I think it's just another way the devil doesn't want us to talk, you know.
I don't think God's surprised though, right?
Mm-hmm. No, not at all.
And in a way, like He knows who we'll be. I've heard that too. Like, He didn't save that person who was like addicted. Well, He did, but I'm saying like He knew who you were in your best.
Yeah. That's what He sees us as.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is crazy too when I think about TC, is like, I know all you guys, the best version of you.
Yeah, I know. That's cool too.
But when we see
when somebody's down and stuff, it hurts.
Shocking.
Yeah, it's shocking. It hurts, and you're like, man, that's not you. You know. Yeah, I know that's hard.
That's eye-opening about drugs in general, though. Like, it showed me like what we're really dealing with. Like, dude, I didn't do drugs like that till I was like 24. You know, so like, I had lived the majority of life like trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And then to go from that to like deep end, hardcore, like
hard as you can go, yeah.
Hard. You realize like oh, that's not who that person is.
No.
Like, it's like something else.
Yeah, and it's like spiritual too, man.
Yeah.
Because it robs you of your hope, joy, and all that. So you're a different person running off emptiness, basically.
Yeah.
And fueled by stuff that's horrible, you know.
That's true.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird to see for sure.
Yeah, it's shocking.
It is. Yeah.
But it's also maybe it's good because you're like, I think I can love people better or easier.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because I know it's not them. Like maybe before I would have taken things personal. Like, oh, this is against me.
It's kind of like the cycle. You know what somebody's.
Yeah.
Oh well, I know exactly what they're going through right now, or I know that's just part of it.
Yeah.
Just like when you fall, like you're in denial. You're trying to get. At first, when you're in it, you're just like, no, man, I'm good, and all that. And then here comes the part where you're like, okay, now I got all this guilt.
Yeah.
This is what I did, and then it's just like a cycle now. That's what. And I don't know if everybody sees that yet. Certain guys.
Right.
I feel like that's part of the growth part is knowing.
Being able to identify.
What is identify? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is it's just weird seeing that or even knowing that.
Do you think you being like in tune with the spirit, or like now you're studying, right? Like
Yeah.
you listen to your podcasts, you're like,
No.
how do you think you can be more in tune, I guess? And also, what do you like to study?
Yeah. I like getting into the Hebrew.
Yeah.
And trying to understand like the as close as the original version,
Yeah.
getting into that. I mean, I feel like I kind of gotta have God's help for that because it's there's a lot of stuff that I like to I don't know. I like to know more about because I feel like back in when the Bible was going on and stuff, I felt like the Holy Spirit was just so, that's all these guys live for.
Right.
And that was it. Like, that's what they truly live for. And I feel like now, with how many distractions and, like, how everyday life will get in the way, because I'm guilty of being busy,
Yeah.
and not doing, and I feel like that really, your tank gets empty, and then that's where bad things will happen, or you'll get. My deal was like I would work, come home, it's like the same. Where was I putting God in? And so tank gets empty, and then now thoughts are a lot harder to get rid of and all that. So I feel like taking your time out and having God and your tank full,
Yeah.
it's less likely that you're gonna,
Yeah, having your
fall.
tank full, true.
Yeah. But you're reading the Hebrew and learning that stuff. I feel like that's seeking God as much as you can,
Yeah.
I want to know what
Dude, I remember.
you got to say.
Yeah. Yeah, you're seeking God.
Yeah.
I remember when I had this revelation
Yeah.
that it was like, I never feel like I'm as close to God as I should be, or like I always feel like
I think
there's
that's
more.
all of us, man. I always
Yeah.
feel like that. I'm always like,
Yeah.
what do I need to do? I
Right.
want you to know that I truly feel like I want you in my life and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I was thinking like, I'm sitting here like searching my mind, like, okay, what does God's word say about this, and like how does He talk about this? And then it hit me like a ton of light bulb moment, and I was like, it was almost God saying, look, you're seeking after me. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I really am. Like
Yeah.
I'm searching for answers, going to the person I need to.
Yeah.
Like that was eye-opening, like just kind of a reinforcement of like.
Gotta say, okay, I'm on the right track.
Yeah, because sometimes it's hard to see changes in your own
I know,
life,
that's
or
what
growth.
it is, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge too. I wish it wasn't that hard.
I know. Do you think we'll ever get to a point where we're like, oh,
Probably
it's
not.
clicking. Everything's clicking.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, like, as in, like, we can see God doing stuff, but I feel like we're always going to be, that fleshly side's going to be always fighting with us,
Yeah. Well, maybe compared to where we used to be.
Oh, yeah.
Us,
big
it'll
time.
seem like,
oh, yeah. Well, yeah, for sure. We'll be like, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of life left,
Yeah.
Lord willing. So there's no telling what kind of more there's going to be more breakthroughs. God's not done. This ain't it, you know. I feel like there's going to be a lot more. You know, we could be running a transition house one day, you know.
Kind of cool.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's not like we're not going to, this ain't it, you know. So that I feel like God is preparing us for more and more and more. And what I've learned is there's no telling where you're going to be at, what you're going to do, and how it's going to happen. It just happens. Yeah.
And you're surprised by it. Each one kind of catches you off
guard. Every one of them, they'll catch you off guard. If you would have told me, you know, 6-7 years ago, I'd be living in Michigan, doing plumbing again, you know.
Yeah.
And having more kids. You know, when I was in Oklahoma, I had those 3 kids. I was like, I don't even get to see them. I'm not a good dad. You know, I just thought all that. And I was like, I'm not having any more. Now I'm here and got even more kids. And now I got that relationship with my sons. You know, I've always wanted that. And like with my son back home, I got a boy and 2 girls back home. Like that killed me because I knew I could be a good dad, and I knew I love them to death. And I dealt with guilt for not being there. And God gave me Jace and Theo and Royce, and that's what I wanted, you know. Yeah. And then God gave Megan her girl, you know, Ellie. Yeah. So yeah, it's good. Things are good.
You think you'll open your own business someday?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Lord willing.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I feel like I want to give something to my kids, you know, and I think it'd be great. And I can hire some Teen Challenge guys.
Yeah.
Get them going. I've always had a heart for that, for sure, you know.
Yeah, I'm thinking that while you're talking. It's like, I could see you opening your own business, obviously, but I feel like you have a lot, maybe knowledge spiritually that needs to be, like, passed along, you know? Like, you've been through a bunch, dude. Experiences that, could help people. I wonder, do you see yourself in a role of, like
I really would.
Father, maybe?
I would like to have a transition place for guys to go to, for sure. I've always felt that. Christ Redeemed Ministry, you know?
Yeah.
I think it would be, and everything happens in due time, but I feel like I'm going to have, you know, that's the stuff I would want, is helping guys, when they leave, transition into these everyday life kind of thing, find them what they are good at, and it's just important. That's important just as much as going in and getting sober.
Yeah.
Because, and I've seen it from experience in Oklahoma, a lot of guys will leave, go back home, and they've never had jobs, and they went into prison when they were young, got out, never had a job, never worked, don't even know what they're good at or what they like.
Yeah.
So they just go back to what they know. And that's sad, because a lot of them are good guys.
Yeah.
Really good guys.
It is sad.
Yeah.
Because I've seen my own situations, and I think there's things that we could probably help with to, like, point out, like, hey, man, like, okay, here's one, like, your job and the place you live being connected. Like, I understand, like, it was great when I needed that, you know?
Yeah.
But then you mess up in one area, and suddenly your house is taken away.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, as someone who doesn't have much, to lose both in one day.
Yeah.
And that's happened to us.
I feel like, that's where, I don't know, a place needs to know, like, hey, there's more than likely going to be some falls, you know, and be prepared for that and have steps for that, you know. I think that, you know, like what they say, like 1 strike rule or 2 strike, or whatever they say.
Yeah.
I think it's 3 strike, but anyways, but seriously, like that stuff, there's a lot of guys that have great potential that either got kicked out or, and then when they get kicked out, they can't go tell home, hey, I got kicked out of the place because I messed up, because a lot of people at home don't understand either. The falls, you know.
And they wouldn't understand. It's like hard to explain that to them. They're like,
because they just think, why are you messing up? That's what you want. That's what you're gonna, you know. Now you got to deal with it. You made your bed and all that, and that's all these emotions again. Yeah. So it's better than you're in your mind. You're like, well, I'm just gonna keep doing it. You know, I have nowhere else to go other than the trap house that sells it to me. They can, you know, they'll let me stay there. They like me enough. Yeah. You know. Yeah, there just needs to be a place like that. I've thought of that ever since I would say when I was staff in Oklahoma, I started
seeing a need for it.
Seeing a need for it. With how many guys that didn't have families, you know, that didn't have visits and all, you know, there's a need for it big time.
I think some of that stuff's like really hard to see.
Yeah.
Especially when you're like, both of us I think have really bought into this new life thing.
Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, to see the people you love like mess up and then some of them don't make it, you know?
No, some of them don't. That's what's crazy. Yeah.
I wonder if it's better, like, okay, you know, say we see someone pass away, like, would you rather have them passed away in their mess? Or would you rather have them, like, you get to see the best version of them, but then they pass away also?
Yeah.
Like, that's hard. I don't know. Because you almost, like, see what could have been.
Yep.
And then it just, like, disappears.
Is gone. I know, and that's a weird, like, death is strange.
Yeah.
Like how that happened, you know.
Yeah, I know. I've had some. What this like whole thing has done with me is been really eye opening. Is that some thoughts you don't even begin to think.
Yeah.
Unless you're in a situation.
Yeah.
Like some things you wouldn't even. Like in your mind, like say stuff happens in war, you know, and like if you weren't in war, you would never come across that. And I think when we're close to like death, like we have been, like dude, there's been doors open in my mind that I can't close.
Yeah.
You know, that's been so close, and you're like, it starts to shape how you like think and live, and like, dude, I remember like, I haven't talked about it too much, but you know, I OD'd or whatever, and like. The days and weeks after that were the most surreal of my life.
Yeah, because how close, yeah.
Well, you walk down the street and you're like, dude, there's no safety net. Like, I shouldn't be here. Like, this is crazy. Like, and it starts to shape every conversation. I remember talking to everyone, like, say I would see someone, and like, maybe they knew what my past or whatever, but they didn't know what I just went through, like, I'd be sitting there talking, I'm like, they don't know, like...
This could have been not happening.
Yeah, this would not happen right here.
Yeah.
And yeah, I thought that with every person too, like every family member, like dude. And for a long time, I was like plaguing my mind. Plaguing. Yeah. So, anyways, death opens you up to these like weird, new, even experiences and thoughts that you never like. I didn't know I'd have to combat before.
Thank God you did, though.
Yeah.
You know.
True.
Yeah.
But also makes me think. Maybe we can, end on it. But So our eyes and our minds have been open to like some serious stuff, but there's been some rewarding things too, like living your life for God.
Yeah.
And I was hoping maybe like, do you have anything that was like been especially rewarding after like following Christ, or like maybe a surprise you didn't know was coming? Maybe that's what your family is.
Yeah. Well, I would say like Michigan for sure.
Yeah.
Being here has been. I remember thinking like when I was in restoration there, it was like wow. I really came close to not either making it or going to prison, and I was kind of prepared to die, you know, just because I figured I was going to OD and or get killed. So when all this happened, it felt like at the time it was kind of slow, but like when I got up and was sleeping in the bunk in Teen Challenge up here, I was like, wow, like I remember telling some guys too, I was like, man, I just didn't think I was going to be here. I just didn't think. This is like a second chance. Like, I just felt like it was like, I should not be here. I was just so surprised at how everything was happening. And, oh yeah, the 333. So like, at campus, remember the big picture going down the steps to go by our dorms?
Yeah, with the hand?
With like on the wall, like you go underneath
it's like
it.
Peter
Here's all the windows. I think so.
Yeah.
The verse is Jeremiah 33:3.
What is it?
Is you call unto me, and I'll show you. I'm paraphrasing, like hidden and secret things. I can pull it up.
Like something no eyes seen or something.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's it was wild, and when I seen the verse.
It is wild, God will place that stuff in. Like one day you read it and you're like just reading another thing, and then the next day it'll be like it's covered in gold into your heart. You're like, oh my gosh, like this thing is.
Yeah. Watch me not. I'll be that guy that can't find it.
It's alright.
There it is. Yeah, it's it was wild when I seen that because It says, "Call to me, and I will answer you, and show you great and mighty things which you do not know."
Yeah.
Isn't that wild? Yeah.
Great and mighty things that we do not know.
Which you do not know. Yeah. It's wild.
You think we're seeing those
Call
or like
me.
preparing to see them?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. That's a great verse.
Yeah, it is.
Things.
It was just wild that's what called to me, and I will show you great and mighty things that which you do not know.
Yeah. Like that's the beginning of your new life.
That was it.
Just think.
Yeah, I remember. That's the first. You walk through, turn right, and then you're going to the dorms. That's it.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Man, there's people out there that need to see that door, dude. They need to see the entrance to this new life.
For sure. And know how to use the tools that we're given, too. Yeah.
I think you're using them now. Like you're helping someone get to that place.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure.
I feel like, God will. He like stacks in a way that multiplies, you know?
Mm-hmm. We need to tell all the bros that they need to talk to us,
That's
anybody that really is struggling and feel like they can't, get any more help because they've already had help and they think they don't deserve any more, which it's just a fall,
Yeah, I think when I talk to you, you always make me feel like, okay, like these are real, like genuine situations, but you make me feel like, yeah, dude, like our brothers need to know about this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, there's men that like.
I remember at Teen Challenge, I remember when Judah was graduating.
Yeah.
And I remember it was my Devo time, and I remember trying to just get it in his head, like, and he's a big head, so big dude. I remember first seeing him, I was like, what's in the water up here, dude?
Did I tell you when I saw him?
Oh,
okay. It's the first time I ever see him, I'm on like a work duty with him. And we're out there supposed to be raking. And so I got my rake. And he's like, 6'5", 230 or something. And he's got a rake in each hand, 2 full-size rakes. And he's just going... And he's like doing double the raking that I would, That was my first experience with him. Like, what? Yeah, what is in the water?
I know, I was like, holy cow.
Huh.
Yeah, so I remember though telling him if he was there, if he struggles, just stay in the Word and don't get too busy, because I was trying to make him just don't do what I did, or if you do fall, there's always a place,
Yeah.
Because that's where the work begins, man. Is when you leave after that graduation, you leave and. The first few weeks, month, is, everything's new and the family's glad to see you and all that. But then once the everyday stuff comes in, here comes little thoughts and all that, and staying planted is something you got to do.
It's like your old thoughts catch up to you, and they're on your heel.
Well, and then you're living a different life, so now you don't talk to any of the friends, And also, that was what we did for fun, too. Socialize, fun, and all that for so long. Now, it's not all about fun anymore, Now you're trying to take responsibilities and live responsible, so, our flesh.
Yeah, how do I gear up for work every day?
Yeah.
That's not fun, really.
Yeah. Or, I'm going to bed at 8 o'clock, on a Friday night.
Yeah. Loser.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
That's how I feel now.
No, 7 o'clock, I'm like, you ready to go to bed or what?
Yeah. That's good, though. That means you're living in the day, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, I think there's a lot of guys that can receive from what you just said, And women, obviously, but it's cool that you do this. Yeah, thanks, dude. It helps me, even keep going.
Yeah, man. You gotta keep it.
Yeah.
Keep it going. For sure.
It's crazy, where you draw strength from. I feel like God sets these little, hidden gems places for you to, find strength.
That is true.
And your house is a big hidden gem of strength.
Yeah.
Seriously, it's been great for me.
I'm always glad to see you hang out.
Me too. It was
good.
Yeah, you've always been there in a time I needed it.
Yeah.
Even stuff they're saying, I don't share everything, but yeah, I need it, and it hits me more than.
No, it hits me too, man. I'm glad that we stay close.
Yeah. Sometimes I wonder how much to share on this stuff. Not everything's for everyone, but. Yeah, dude, it just means a lot. So, and I'll tell you all about it, I'm sure. But.
Here goes Lauren getting awkward.
All right, Brian.
All right, man.
Love you, dude. Put in the place again.
Yeah.
Thanks again for doing it.
No problem.
Yeah, we'll do another one. This is the third.
This is the third.
Yeah. You need to be like a permanent fixture in this thing.
Especially when we got about 1 million subscribers, and that's when.
Yeah, it's on the way. I think.
Yeah. Gotta get that mullet going. Theo Von running for his money.
That's right. All right, love you, Brian.
He'll be calling into our show.
He will. Someday. I believe that with all my heart.
Oh, yeah.